Hello, welcome to Arcadie's Top 10 Favorite Grenade Mods video. Today we'll be going over my top 10 favorite grenade mods in Borderlands 2 and Borderlands the pre-sequel. So these are my top 10 favorite grenade mods in both games. It's personal preference, so yeah, if you guys don't agree with these grenade mod choices, leave a comment. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. But basically, without further ado, we'll be moving on to number 10. So, number 10. So, number 10 on my list is the Magic Missile Grenade mod that you can get in the Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep DLC. So, these grenade mods, they are like the spell grenades. They can like slowly regenerate grenade ammo over time, which is really handy. And I will talk about at least one other spell grenade in this countdown, but the magic missile, one of the best things about it is it's one of the best. Maybe not the absolute best, but it's a pretty good slag grenade. I mean, you can slag enemies fairly effectively with it, and the grenade regen is great. The only thing, like the main thing I don't like about it though, is when you throw it, it's basically a homing grenade, so it won't always like slag the guy that you want. While if you had like a longbow grenade, like say a longbow transfusion grenade, for example, you could slag like whatever you want, at least a lot more consistently anyway. But yeah, so I'm just gonna, again, just show off the grenade a little bit. I mean, I'm not gonna do too much here. Oops. Didn't mean to summon Death Trap. You see, I throw the magic missile and it slags up that guy, the tree really effectively. So then I can kill him with my Tattler really quickly. So I have the purple quality variant, which you can get off of badass necromancers in the Tina DLC. Usually I just get the blue variant because it's a lot more common to pick up. But the main difference between them is the blue variant shoots out only 2 of those like homing slag ball things, while the purple one shoots out 4 of them at a time, which is pretty cool. So that's the main difference between them, but they're very, very effective grenades for slagging, and they do regenerate grenade ammo over time. So sometimes, even if I don't actually use it that often, I'll just keep it on hand just to regenerate grenade ammo when I can't get to a vendor, or the game's been really stingy on the grenade drops, like in chests or killing enemies or whatnot. So yeah, the magic missile, excellent grenade mod, but unfortunately it's not. It's definitely not like my favorite grenade in the game. It's still only the 10th slot, so. So anyway, we'll be moving on to number 9. Number 9. So number 9 on my list is the Pandemic. I know this is going to be a fairly controversial one, but I've always kind of found corrosive cloud grenades to be really effective against loaders. I know in the OP levels that's not the case. They're probably not quite as powerful as some other grenades, but I've always found that even just leveling for the game, if there's lots of loaders, I'll bring out an acid cloud grenade, especially like say the Pandemic if I have one, and I'll use it exclusively on the loaders just to kill them fairly quickly. So the Pandemic again is the legendary acid cloud grenade, and from what I understand, the only real difference between the Stormfront, the Fire Bee, and the Pandemic is the like accessory. that like changes the element or something. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know in the game files they're all considered an exterminator grenade, and there's the three different options: the pandemic, the stormfront, and the fire bee. But personally, I think all three of them are amazing, at least in my personal opinion. They're all, they're all like effective on certain enemies, though. I mean, they're not going to be on effective on everything because of the way the elemental like damage works. But so I'll throw one right here. Of course, he moved out of it, but as you can see, I can kill a loader fairly quickly, at least at level 72 outside of the OP levels. I'm afraid to say I've never actually really gotten to the OP levels, but I'm definitely gonna be working on that fairly soon. But yeah, regardless, I mean, I always thought the acid cloud grenades were pretty good. I know they're not. Well, yeah, another cool thing about the pandemic is the acid cloud thing actually kind of spreads from one enemy to the other, so it can, go through a whole bunch of enemies. So yeah, so kind of fun. Maybe not the most effective grenade on my list, but personally, I think these things are pretty good. At least when you're fighting loaders or any other armored enemies in the game. I mean, if you're fighting, like, say, bandits, well, this isn't going to do much. What else is resistant to corrosive? I can't think of much else. But basically any fleshy enemies, they will not take that much damage from this, but as you can see, it kills loaders pretty quick. I mean, but anyway, that's number 9, and we'll move on to number 8. Number 8. So number 8 on my list is the Crossfire. The Crossfire is a Seraph grenade mod that's based on the Bouncing Betty style of type of grenade mods. So the nice thing about these grenades is I like to use a slag variant because they can be really good for slagging a whole group of enemies at once. And the best thing about the Crossfire is it shoots out a whole bunch of those like miniature like child grenades that basically shoot the slag everywhere. So that's why I use it in slag. I mean, you can get it in fire, shock, corrosive, and I think explosive, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I like to use Bouncing Betties for slag if I can find one. I mean, it kind of depends on the character. If, say I'm playing as Maya or even Axton, I don't really need to worry too much about being able to slag multiple things. But with Creek, for example, he doesn't have any slag like skills, so I'll throw that out. One downside to it, though, is it shoots those things out such a wide area that it's very possible for you to slag yourself, which can kind of be annoying. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite grenade mods. It's very fun. Very effective for slagging enemies, and yeah, there's really not that much to it, so I guess we'll move on to number 7. Number 7 on my list is the Chain Lightning Grenade. It's the legendary version of the Lightning Bolt spell grenade you can get in the Tiny Tina DLC off of badass sorcerers, I believe. I think they have to be the shock variant of them. I believe the fire ones can only drop the fire grenade mods. But one of the best things about the Chain Lightning, of course, other than the regenerate grenade ammo, is it basically bounces from one enemy to the next, and it's very effective for just keeping your health up when you use a ruby or a grog nozzle. And you can also strip your shields really easily with it. So if you're playing like a, say for example like Melee Zero or Melee Krieg, at least you can strip your shields like pretty much instantly, and the grenade will eventually regenerate too. So, yeah, I like it more than the magic missile, mainly because I feel like I can get a little bit more out of it, especially if I'm playing melee, and I'm trying to strip my shields, like say on 0.
You stop.
And it deals decent damage. I mean, not the greatest, but it can, you know, it basically, like, the first enemy gets hit with the full amount of damage, then the second enemy gets hit with less, and then, you know, so on and so forth. So it's not the most powerful grenade out there, but it works good, and I always like to try to get one if I can. I mean, I'm kind of unlucky with the drops, but anyway, that's number 7. We'll be moving on to number 6. Number 6. Number 6 on my list is the transfusion grenade. I like to use sticky longbow slag transfusions when I can, because I like to use, you know, of course, it's really nice to be able to slag something basically wherever you want, because the nice thing about longbow grenades is you can throw them as basically as far as you can see, and you can put them exactly where you want them. And another great thing about transfusion grenades, of course, is they seek out enemies and they recover health for you. And I like to use these on 0 and Gauge mostly, because I feel like they got like the worst survivability in the game. I mean, you can fight me on that, but yeah, as far as like trying to, you know, recover your health anyway, I mean, shields is a different matter, but recovering your health from a bunch of enemies, well, transfusion grenades are amazing for helping to keep you alive. So, yeah. So what again, like what I told you guys a second ago, is you can basically throw them wherever you want with the the longbow, and it'll seek out a nearby enemy and then slag them for you. So then you can pick them off. It's great for snipers, and of course the healing helps me stay alive, so I don't have to switch to a ruby or a grog nozzle like nearly as much, just to you know, keep myself alive. They can also seek out your teammates too, which I find kind of cool. So like say you have a melee Krieg or melee Zero, you know, jumping in there to attack an enemy. You can basically try to help keep them alive by throwing in a couple transfusions. But yeah, again, definitely one of my favorite grenades in the whole game, and I would never leave home without one, especially on 0 and Gauge. But anyway, we'll be moving on to number 5. Number 5. So number 5 on my list, at one time I absolutely hated this grenade, but ever since the $100,000 loot hunt that they did, like, I can't remember if it was like 5 years ago or whatever it was. I mean, it was quite a while ago. But they basically like quadrupled its damage, or maybe even possibly more than that. But anyway, it actually made this grenade really good, is the fastball. So I have an explosive fastball, and the explosive variant is really good on both Axton and Krieg, especially if you like pick any of the skills that increase explosive damage or grenade damage, which I don't have very many on Axton right now. I just got Battlefront. But if you have both Battlefront and Steady, you can, and I guess Do or Die too, I think. Yeah, Do or Die. You can increase the grenade damage. Like, you can make this thing so powerful. And it's already extremely powerful. It's kind of a hard grenade to use at first, because you have to be kind of dead on with your aim in order to actually, you know, kill something. And of course, you know, I throw it, I miss. But you can see, it did a lot of damage to that Savage Warrior in a single throw. Oh, come on. But yeah, really powerful grenade mod, and it's actually quite surprising how strong this thing is now. But excellent grenade mod on Krieg, and a great, like, amazing grenade mod on Axton too. So yeah, so that's the fastball. Of course, I haven't played Axton for a little while, so I'm kind of poor with him. But anyway, we'll be moving on to number 4. Number 4. So number 4 on my list is the area effect cryo grenades. So these grenades are exclusive to the Borderlands pre-sequel. You can't get them in Borderlands 2. And the whole cryo element basically replaces slag. But unlike slag, cryo can only increase critical hit damage, melee, and explosive damage. Like, if you just shoot an enemy, like say in the body, you don't get any extra damage from having an enemy frozen. But these grenades are really good for freezing enemies, like really effectively. And yeah, I just love them. So you just throw it in there, and as you can see, both enemies got frozen pretty quickly. And of course, this is only true Vault Hunter mode, so they died pretty quickly anyway, but well. But yeah, cryo grenades, they are amazing, and I absolutely love them. I mean, I know they're not like the most powerful grenade out there, but they're very good for freezing enemies. So I guess we'll be moving on to number 3. Number 3. So number 3 on my list is another Seraph grenade known as the Meteor Shower. So the Meteor Shower is basically like a Seraph equivalent of a Merv grenade. You throw it, it sends out a whole bunch of little child grenades, which just keep blowing up just constantly. And yeah, basically you just kill a whole bunch of guys in like an area, like a small area, really quickly. So to get this grenade, of course, you can get it off the Seraph vendor in the Badass Crater of Badassitude. And it's, I guess you could say it's basically the equivalent of the bonus package. Oops. And I have one right here. You can see it's got 2 more child grenades compared to the bonus package. And for whatever reason, I have no fuse time on my card. I just realized that. It's kind of weird, but you can see it's basically like a stronger version of the bonus package, but they're both really good grenades. And yeah, of course I have it on Krieg, and he's got some like explosive damage buffs, but you can see it throws out a whole bunch of child grenades, and it just explodes basically constantly. It's awesome. So I mean, it's, again, you know, personal preference, but I've always loved this grenade. I always thought it was great. Especially on Axton or Krieg, because they both have, you know, either explosive damage buffs or they have grenade damage buffs, so they can both buff the damage of the grenade a bit. But yeah, so I guess we'll be moving on to number 2. Number 2. So number 2 on my list is the Quasar. So I have a sticky longbow Quasar, and this is a legendary equivalent of a singularity grenade, which can only come in like the shock element. So one thing I love about the Quasar is, of course, since it's a singularity grenade, you throw it, it pulls enemies towards the grenade, and then it blows up. In the Quasar's case, is it's got a really long reach. Like, you can pull enemies from quite a ways away, and the shock damage is, you know, decent, but it can strip shields fairly effectively on enemies, so it can be really useful for that. But of course, the main reason why I use it is to, you know, just move enemies around, maybe even like line them up so I can get Boar to proc and you know, hit multiple guys at once. But yeah, I like to use it on Zero mostly. I mean, I'll use it on any character really, but I find it the most useful on Zero. So you see, I pulled those two guys right there. And it kind of does like those electrical things. Of course, they keep knocking me back. So it's a really powerful grenade mod, and it's a very versatile grenade mod, and I absolutely love it. I mean, it's amazing. But there's only one other grenade mod in this game that I like more, and I guess you guys will be finding out in just a second. And of course, the #1 best grenade mod, in my personal opinion, is Captain Blade's Midnight Star. Yeah, this thing's so awesome. So, yeah, I'll show you what happens when you throw it. But, yeah, I just love this thing so much. It is so awesome. You throw it, and the damn thing comes back to you and tries to kill you. So, yeah, it's definitely the best grenade mod of all time. And when you're a Gunzerker, you can throw two of them. And of course, you know, this is all just a little joke. The only good thing, use for this thing, in my personal opinion, is just toss this piece of crap in the grinder. Like this. Bye-bye. I'll be showing you guys the #1 in just a minute. You could call this grenade a bit of an honorable mention, or you could call it number 11 on my list, even though I was only going to go with 10 grenades. But I really like the Fire Bee, kind of for the same reasons that I like the Pandemic. This thing's really good on fleshy enemies like bandits and pirates and stuff. Yeah, so honorable mention. I mean, it's a great grenade in my personal opinion. I know not everybody likes it, and I don't know exactly how powerful it'll be in the OP levels, but I'm excited to find out when I get my when I get myself to actually want to go and do it. So you throw the grenade, it spins around, it basically sends out like those little fire bee things all over the place, like outside of that central pillar thing. And yeah, I mean, not really showing it off here very well because I'm not doing very well, but anyway, great grenade. Of course, I don't show very good footage, but I love it anyway. But we'll be showing you guys my absolute favorite grenade in just a second here. And finally, the grenade that everybody's been looking for, #1, is... So for real, my #1 favorite grenade in all of Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel is... Drumroll, please. The Stormfront. So this is a legendary equivalent of a Tesla grenade. I absolutely love Teslas in this game. They are amazing. They do good damage. They strip shields really quickly. And one of the best things too about them is outside of like the actual like Tesla core there, when it does this area effect here, you don't take any damage until that thing blows up. So if you're on top of it, you will take some damage, but it's not nearly as much as say like a Fire Bee or a Corrosive Cloud, because those can hurt you at any time. So yeah, you just throw it out. It sends out all its miniature things, and you zap everything. And I mean, they're awesome. I love this grenade. So yeah, I'll just cut to some pre-sequel footage as well, since I know I haven't really showed off any of these grenades in the pre-sequel too. So kind of continuing with the Stormfront, just to kind of show it off a little bit. But this is the Stormfront grenade that I have in Borderlands pre-sequel on my melee Athena. So again, one of the things that I love about it, you throw it out, and it does a lot of electrical damage to basically everything in like radius of effect. So I absolutely love it. I mean, I know not everybody likes these things, but definitely my favorite grenade in the whole game, by far. And one of the cool things with Athena too is she's got that Maelstrom skill that whenever you do electrical or fire damage, you build stacks of Maelstrom. And of course with the Stormfront and the Fire Bee, as well as other shock and fire grenades, obviously, you can build up stacks of Maelstrom really quickly. And each stack increases your shock and fire damage. So it adds up after a while, and you can do a ton of damage with this grenade. And it's also pretty good for stripping her shields too, so that's always a good thing. But yeah, ever since I first found, like, I'm even going to say like my first Tesla grenade, period, it quickly became one of my favorite grenades, like, ever. And of course the Stormfront is basically the best version of a Tesla. It's got higher damage, it sends out those little child grenades as well, which you can shock enemies nearby. I mean, overall it's just an amazing grenade, so yeah, that's my top 10 favorite grenades of all time. What are your guys' favorite grenades? Did I miss any that you guys think are really badass? Please leave a comment, and please rate, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys later.